right, we are back for more NASCAR talk on the Prime Sports Radio Network here, Prime Sports NASCAR. Let's dive into the reasoning of your pick, Eric. And you were mentioning before on the other side, Denny Hamlin. We broke down how obvious it is that drivers, a couple of drivers like Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Larson Elliott, they're going to have to win more than likely in order to reach Homestead with a chance for the championship.
Yeah, I just feel like I said at the start, like water finds its level. It just seems like everything cream always rises to the top. That Hamlin being 20 out, that he hasn't been in this situation really all season, and that I feel like he's going to find it this weekend. I mean, he finished fifth in the spring race at ISM Raceway in Phoenix, 6 top tens in his last 8 there. You got to look at his playoffs: 4 top fives in his last 5, 5 in his last 6. The only exception was Texas, and that was just a weird circumstance when you get a sticky substance and it makes it slip. A sticky substance and it makes it slippery. So,
by the way, that
kind of
was
out
a
of his
bad race. Nobody wants to see a driver dominate. And what was it, like the third place driver was like 9 seconds back at some point. The track looks terrible. I don't even know what they're thinking, but that we just can't have that again next year. They got to do something about that track.
Yeah, and what's weird is they're putting that same substance on the track here in Phoenix this weekend. So I just don't know how well that actually is going to work. We saw that the sun made it, like, as weird as it sounds, a sticky substance slippery. I don't know. That's almost like an oxymoron, but that's what these drivers are complaining about. And now we're going to have it at Phoenix, which, oh, by the way, is the championship race next year. So are we going to taint the championship race too? It's just the whole thing. I think they need to do something. I don't think that Texas race was good at all. It's one of my least favorite races on the schedule. Just 500 miles for that type of race. I mean, it almost feels like it's the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona. I mean, it's like, what is it, 24 Hours of Texas? It's just get this thing over with. So it's not one of my favorite races on the schedule. I'm pretty clear about that, even leading up to it. So I'm glad it's over. This is a mile track, but unfortunately, we've seen tracks a mile length or shorter not race the best this year. I mean, we look at what Truex did in Martinsville a few weeks ago, what Keselowski did the same track back in the spring. Dover wasn't the best of races, so New Hampshire wasn't the best of races. We'll see if Phoenix is any better. It wasn't very good in the spring, so track position is going to be key. Denny Hamlin should qualify well and have it. That's why I feel like he'll be running up front all day. He's a good racer. He deserves a win after what happened last weekend. I think he'll get it. I mean, just it only makes it right if he can make it, get a win, get a good guy that's deserving of a championship in the championship for. So out of those favorites, I think he's going to be the one. He's my pick. Let's see if water finds its level.
Yeah, I'm surprised that some of the analysts have already kind of bailed on Denny Hamlin. It's like, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
I mean, all he has to do is go out there and win a race. And I know it's only, but he has been winning races. And he has been real strong at this track lately with 6 top 10s in his last 8, 4 of those top 5s. He was 5th in March. He led 193 laps in 2017 before the wreck. So I don't know. Look, if you're gonna pick him like for the reasons that you liked him a month or so ago, there's really no reason to bail on him because of some bad luck situation on the racetrack.
Yeah, nothing changes. And I thought it was ironic that, gosh, what was he last week? What, 3-1 for a championship? And now he's like 12-1, 14-1, something like that. Like, why did they jump off of him so quick? Nothing. The car, the driver, everything's still the same. He just had one bad race. And so, yeah, I think he's definitely the value pick this week. And out of everybody that needs to win, he's got the best car. I mean, he's been the most consistent recently. Right. So, so I feel like when his back's been against the wall before, he's performed. So definitely going to have to go Hamlin this week for those reasons.
Yeah, because you look at Kyle, who's the heavy favorite at 3-1, and we get it. He's been super strong here, 7th or better in his last 8 starts, 6 of those top 5s, 2 runner-ups, back-to-back wins, including March. He's been first, and second in his last 3 races at Phoenix with a combined 422 laps led. So we get all of that. But again, he hasn't won in so long. There's that pressure there, not just from him, but his team, to hope that everything goes well in one race. That's not automatic. Okay, but we kind of know how good he is, and that's just one driver. That doesn't mean Denny Hamlin still can't get in no matter what Kyle does, because as you mentioned, look, Truex, look at what he did last week. Exactly what we kind of expected. He was just, it
Yep.
wasn't even there. We don't even expect him to be there again this week. This is not a good track for him. He's probably not even
Mhm.
going to care. Kevin Harvick, she just told us after this past race that the reason why they really wanted to win Texas because they didn't think they were going to have as good as a chance at Phoenix because of the setup with this car is different than how he dominated here before. I don't think Kevin Harvick is going to care about winning this week. Chase
Nope.
Elliott can't even finish races, and he's 8-1. And then we got Ryan Blaney and Larson at 12-1. So if you're talking about winning the race, not trying to be like Joey Logano, winning the race, Denny Hamlin does not have a lot of competition with the top drivers when that green flag goes down of who wants to win.
Yep. Yeah, and we've seen that driving styles with Eric Jones and DiBenedetto are kind of the same way, and we know the Levine Family Racing and how close they're going to be working with Gibbs next year. That I could see Jones and DiBenedetto going strictly just let's help Hamlin get a win. We know Kyle knows his way around, and Hamlin's been good. Maybe we try different setups in practice and see what we can find, and we can come together and find the best overall setup to help Denny Hamlin get to victory lane on Sunday. I mean, that's got to be their end goal. I mean, they probably have a good feeling that Kyle Busch, if it goes on pure speed and talent, is going to beat Joey Logano in the race on Sunday. No matter where they finish, that in order to get Hamlin in, he's probably going to have to win. So what better scenario? You got Truex already in. You can have Kyle beat Logano and he gets in, and have Denny Hamlin win. You got 3 Gibbs cars in the championship 4. That's their ideal situation. Then their only way to make that happen, have Hamlin win. So I think it's all hands on deck. And plus, imagine this guy that's been running this well having all hands on deck now to get him to victory lane. I mean, it just everything's lining up for a Denny Hamlin win on Sunday afternoon.
All right. Speaking about some of those other drivers, then, well, what about Blaney and Larson? They're both 12-1. As I mentioned, Elliott is 8-1. But Elliott, I mean, right now that team is there's just nothing going right for them. It would just be a big shock. Even though he's done well, he's been okay at the track, but it would be such a big. And I'm actually surprised he's 8-1 and Blaney's 12-1, based on how both of those drivers are how they're both racing coming into this week's race. And even the fact that Blaney's got 2 poles in his last 4 races here, including the 3rd-place finish, leading 94 laps in March.
Yeah, I think Blaney's got the best odds of them just because of how good he's been on the season. I mean, he's got 3 top 8s in his last 4, 5 in his last 8. He seems to be, overall, to me, he's better. He's running better than Logano right now, but he's 23 points out. It's going to be a stretch to make it in. And Chase Elliott was at Kansas 22 points out and lucked out and barely made it in. So it's possible, but I don't know if he can beat that much ground on someone like Kyle Busch. Logano possibly, but Kyle, I doubt it. But I mean, he was 6th back in the spring. He was 3rd in the playoff race. I'm talking about Larson now. 6th in the spring race, 3rd in the playoff race. So he's there. But since his win at Dover, he's finished 39th, 14th, 9th, and 12th. He's got 1 top 5 finish in his last 9 starts overall in the season. That was the win. I just don't know if he's got it in him to win again. But granted, his win was on a 1-mile track. So he's got a shot. He's going to have to win, but I think he's going to have to do a little bit off strategy to get there just because of how strong I expected the Gibbs cars to be. And I mean, it's been a disastrous playoffs. I mean, yes, he won the Roval, but back against the wall because he finished 13th the week prior to that. Then he starts off Dover. He blows his engine 7 laps in, finishes 38th. He gets caught up in a crash at Talladega, rebounds to finish 8th, but still, like I said, 22 points down at Kansas, and he finishes 2nd. So the cutoff races, he's finished 1st and 2nd, respectively. But this round, 36th with an axle problem in Martinsville, 32nd last weekend, getting in the wall early on. I mean, it just seems like win is enough. A guy that's been, again, he's forced against the wall. He has to win at 78 points down. I just don't know if he can beat those Gibbs cars straight up. He's going to have to go off strategy. And he's finished 23rd in this race last year, 14th in the spring. Chevy just did not have a good package for this track in general under this new racing package. So I don't know if those two, Larson and Elliott, can get to victory lane. And if they don't, a key thing to hear, tidbit here is Chevrolet has been shut out of the championship for the last 2 years in the Cup Series. If neither of them win on Sunday, then Chevy could go 3 straight years without having a driver at Homestead competing for a championship. And that's big, especially for a manufacturer who dominated this series really from the 2000s until Jimmy's championship in 2016. So do they go 3 straight years without a championship four appearance? Right now, it appears
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I think Blaney out of those three would be my choice that I feel most confident about that can reach victory lane. But in terms of making it on points, I mean, as I said, Chase Elliott's got three top fives all playoffs. Two of them are in elimination races. He's got two top fives in his career at Phoenix. Larson's got three top fives in his career at Phoenix, but he's only got one top five in his last 9 on the season. Just they don't jive well for as far as numbers. That's going to come out of the gates and get a top five and compete for a win on Sunday afternoon.
The sleepers to keep an eye on this week. Again, Logano could wind up being a bargain at 25-1 if you know he's got to win late in the race. You've got Kurt Busch at 25-1, 7th in March, and he's got 4 top 10s in his last 5 races. So he's actually been performing pretty well. Your sleeper, which is Almirola at 50-1, why not? Second last week, and he's got 4 straight top 10s at this racetrack. This is his best track.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be a really good week to go at Almirola. And Bowman, CJ's top sleeper, was 5th last week. That's his 3rd top 5 in the playoffs. And let's not forget, he led 194 laps from the pole back in 2016, wound up finishing 6th. And he's also 50-1. I think Suarez at 60-1 may not be a bad idea as well. He's got a couple of top 10s and 5 starts here, including a 3rd place finish last week.
Yeah, I think this is a weekend where the sleepers, I wouldn't be shocked if they won. I mean, we talked about the favorites and how I don't think you'll see Truex or Harvick win just because of they've pretty much said this isn't a week that they should pick each other. Kyle just needs points, and Logano, if you talk about, just needs points. They're fighting each other. And the other guys that are forced to win, I don't know how much other than Hamlin can get to victory lane. So you got to look at sleepers. And a fun fact of this race, in 2015, a non-playoff driver won. In 2017, a non-playoff driver won. Why not 2019? Just if you even want to go farther, 05, 2011, 2015, and 2017, this race has all seen a non-playoff driver win. So here we are in 2019. Does that trend continue? I think because of those drivers we just talked about, yes, I do believe so. I mean, Almirola, like you said, he's 2nd last week. He was 4th in the spring, and he's got 3 top fives, including Phoenix since the spring. That's about it, and 2 of them are in the last 4 weeks. So I look at him to be strong. He was 4th in this race last year, too. He wants a win, and what better place to do it? They can go off strategy. What does it matter to them? And these other guys they need to do something to get to victory lane. These guys can just play it straightforward like a normal race, and we saw what Almirola did last week, and that's why he's my pick. But I wouldn't count out Jimmy Johnson. He's got 5 top 11s in his last 8 on the season. Granted, 3 of his last 4 have been 34th or worse, but he's had good race cars in those races. He's just got, yeah. In this race, he's got 4 wins, 2nd most ever in Phoenix history. He's got 3 runner-ups, also 2nd most ever. So he knows his way around this track. I wouldn't be shocked if he could keep this momentum going and can find a way in victory lane just because of these past weird races where we've seen guys, non-playoff drivers, win. He's one I'd watch. Eric Jones, same way. He's got 3 top 5s or 3 top 10s and his last 5 starts at Phoenix, albeit he hasn't had that great of success on the season. But that 20 car is the last non-playoff winner in Phoenix with Matt Kenseth. So he needs to win. He needs to get a season going again, inning strong. So I look at any of those guys that come in and still win on Sunday and maybe have 2 guys make it to Homestead on points.
8 of the last 10 winners at ISM have started in the top 10. Chevy has just 1 win in the last 6 races. So we'll see how it all unfolds on Sunday. Homestead is next week. We will talk to CJ on Monday for a quick recap, and then you and I will wrap it all up on Wednesday when we give our final predictions for the final race of the season. So you're right now you're going with Hamlin?
I'm going with Hamlin, but I wouldn't be
Kyle?
shocked. Yeah, Hamlin or Kyle would be my two choices to make it in. But there's also the stat that could favor Kyle. The last six playoff races, which seems odd for a playoff time, we've had six different winners, and Kyle Busch isn't one of them. Do we go seven in a row heading to Homestead? But if not, I think Hamlin will be the guy. I think those are the two. Those would be my picks to make it in. Other than the two that have already in, I think Hamlin wins and gets in by virtue of that, and Kyle gets in on points.
And race review online. What are you going to be doing for the race?
Just looking at all that, the championship four, just focusing on the eight playoff drivers and what they're doing. Dove in deeper last weekend with the practice and the qualifying and what was going on this weekend. Maybe a little bit different since it's not a mile and a half, but we'll try that same kind of scenario. Correctly picked the winner. I picked Harvick to win, so we'll see if I can get the same. Right now, I'm going to say Hamlin, but things can change on Friday in practice. So we'll keep updates going through the weekend.
Excellent. Thanks a lot as always, Eric. Enjoy the race. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Yep. Thank you. Talk to you then.